And for the crescent, I got to get this right on. That's pretty close. Because the crescent's going to take the whole field of view up. And we are pointing almost straight up over to the side. So we're pointing right now, right around this area here. Okay, Jack. Thank you. Did you go to your cottage anymore, Bob, in, where was it? Illinois? Was it Illinois or Michigan? I think it was in Michigan. Yeah, I'm going to start the guider. And tomorrow night's rain. Okay, we'll just get the guider going soon. We go to the crescent. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, hope everything goes fine for you. What do you have? Bone-to-bone connection, contact now? Cartilage is all gone. That's painful. Yeah, I've had a few patients had that done. That somebody at our trailer she's only in her early 40s had her knee done already. All right, I just started the guider. Yeah, they're doing a lot of that type of work now. Now, the crescent's going to need longer exposure. Let's try a minute. And I'm going to leave everything back to default like it was. Okay. Close that up. Default this. Now, if you want to save a little time, you could probably put your white point, lower it to, let's try 200. Leave your black point where it is until you see the histogram show up. Oh, you gotta get them both done. Yeah, I would wait definitely a year. It's a lot of, it's very major. A lot of recuperating, rehab going through. Alright, I'm a little off, but that's good enough. And definitely we definitely have more field of view because that sensor is 5 millimeters inward more. So yeah, that's not bad. Definitely a little bit faster focal ratio with this camera over the extreme because of the difference in the sensor depth and more field of view. That 5 millimeters, believe it or not, makes a difference. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually can make a big difference. Now that peak will probably end up higher and spread a little bit out around here. It should fall around between 50 and 100 and end around here, so it should go something like that. So we'll see. Lots of physiotherapy, yeah. As long as these clouds, let's verify it. See, we're playing in around right here. Hang on a sec. No, I got this reversed. This is my south. Let me think for a sec. This is my south here and my north. So if I'm looking at this program, I'm right here, right around here. Look how fast those clouds are moving. They're just whipping right through. Got a nice clear coming in for now. Sorry guys, I can't control the weather, but we'll keep going. Hey Mac, how are you? Oh, look at that. It's almost like a cosmic ray hit right there. Oh, that's why I don't have it enabled. Okay, let's give it a go again. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's enable it. And let's leave it there for now. Just so we can see what happens. Now this is the 829, similar to an 828. It's a PAL version. And you remember the exterminator has two areas where amp glow is. And I am seeing dominant here in this corner and a tiny bit here. I don't know if you guys can see that. But there is a little bit. It's like reversed from the... Just imagine if it's flipped upright, so it would be here and here on the extreme. Yeah, tiny bit on the bottom. But watch now when the dark field correction kicks in. And we're getting this because I'm really using high gain and lots of exposure. Like with a color deep sky, SkyRaider color camera, even with the Lumicon, I wouldn't need any more than 30 seconds tops, with gain at probably 3 with the same setup. So I wouldn't see the amp glow that much. It's because we have to go longer in exposures because of this filter. It's very narrow. So let's see what happens when the we're going to get the lines again because I changed and added the dark field, so it's got to get the two images to merge again. Now you can see, do you see the amp glow here? This is the correction of the amp glow because it's a 90-second combine, odd and even. We're getting the dark showing where it's correcting it. So on the next refresh, we should see that gone. Look how clean that is though. That really cleaned it up a lot. Oh, okay. The Castle 03 filter, 2-inch. What's the bandwidth, Alistair, of that 03 filter? The one I have is a 10 nanometer. It's probably maybe almost like an Astrodon, a 3. Okay, so it's about a spread of 23 nanometers, then divide. So we're probably looking about 3 to 5. Yeah, so about a 3 to 5. That's very narrow. Yeah, it should be, yeah. I'm sure the contrast was nice. These narrowband filters really enhance the contrast. Well, that shows you how well that works, the dark field correction. Works pretty, I'd say pretty good. I'm going to now raise this, or lower that I mean, to 150. Now by lowering the white point or raising the black point doesn't reset this again. So let's see what happens. Well, there's a lot of O3 to M27. It's quite a lot. Let's see how we're doing anyways. Oh, there's the plane above. Oh yeah, there it goes. It's just passing my scope. It might have went through the scope. Scope's about here, I think. We'll see if we get it showing through. I don't think so. Let me just see where that cloud... Wow, we're looking good. We're looking okay. So it's always good to wait it out. There's the plane. Goodbye, plane. Okay, let's see if this brightens up now. So again, I'm not touching the gamma and the contrast. I'm just going to play with the histogram. You can see the double star here. What I would have liked to have done is moved it over a bit. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it over to the right and really push the exposure. So I'm just going to stop the guiding, and I'll pay attention to this star. I want roughly about right here. Height is fine. Alright, let me just see. Let's use 2 seconds. See if that's enough. Okay, good. I want to put it right about here. Alright. Alright, that's close enough. Okay, we'll leave it right there. There we go. Alright, let me just get the guider going again. And I'm going to bump up the exposure. And we'll use the full 90 seconds to match the dark. Let's push this, and I want to capture an image here. And I will probably do the crescent with the other camera later on, just to compare it with my Exterminator Mono 428. Okay, and exposure we're going to put to we had it on 60, so let's go to 130. And I'm going to leave this at, let's leave it at 150 for now. No, it's useless for visual. Your eyes can't see HA, Alistair. That's why the Lumicon cuts out all hydrogen alpha, the UHC filter and their O3 and all that. Not their O3, of course it cuts it out, but the UHC, the ultra high contrast filter Lumicon makes, does not allow HA to enter through because they consider it a visual filter, and our eyes cannot see the hydrogen alpha to infrared spectrum wavelength. So 656 cannot detect it with the eye. Well, I've always been told and heard that you can't see 650 hydrogen alpha. Yeah, it's probably something to do at night. Okay, I think we're going to be okay there. Let's see what happens on the next refresh. And we're going right now at 90 seconds, which is not bad for an HA filter. I remember the days, Don will probably verify this, when when we first had our, the Extremes first came out, not the X2s, just the Extremes, I think we were doing 300 seconds with the HA. 240 to 300, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes exposure, or I mean 4 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. What am I saying? 4 to 5 minute exposure we were doing back then. Now we're doing a minute and a half. Hey Tom, completely different. Hydrogen alpha from the sun is completely different than hydrogen alpha from emission nebula. Oh yeah. Yeah, same wavelength. It's just a lot stronger. Our sun is so much brighter, closer. We're dealing with faint stuff from millions of miles away, light years. You can't see it looking through a scope, hydrogen alpha. Not on emission nebulas. .75 reducer combination with the longer portion of the MFR5 MAC. So it's a combination. That's why a solar scope you cannot use even a 3 nanometer filter. It just would let too much light in. You'd burn out your sensor, Tom. Couldn't do it. Your solar is like 0.03 nanometers or 0.3, I can't remember. It's very narrow, the HA. You can't use a even an Astrodon 3 nanometer filter on the sun. It's just too wide. No. I know you can see the sun with your eye. You'd burn your eye out. You can't see the hydrogen alpha on an emission nebula, is what I'm saying. Okay, so 0.5 to 0.7. Thanks, Jack. So that's a lot more narrower than a emission HA nebula filter. No problem. That's true. Yeah, I thought they come a little narrower. Okay, so I'm going to raise the black point. And I'll leave the white. Oh, we might be able to lower it a bit more. Try about 135. It's getting better. Getting better. Now I do have the dark field correction on, but if you do notice, it works good, but you can see in this area where it's masking out the amp glow, we do lose a little bit of the contrast in the stars, but that's okay. They all tend to do that when you mask out the amp glow. It will affect stars in that area where the amp glow is. Yeah, cannot avoid it. It's so hard. Even when Don uses his amp glow filter and cam twists, you can see the stars are a little bit grayed out more. They lose the contrast. Yeah, you are starting. I'm going to show you though on the next one, Bob, with it off. and you'll see a big difference. Even when I use my amp glow mask with the exterminator, I can't completely get the amp glow away totally. You can only reduce it. It gets too hard to completely remove it. But we're getting some good detail in the crescent, some extended nebulosity out here, a little bit here. I'm going to capture my best image on this one. I'm probably not going to be able to, unless something comes up later on, use my O3 and do a combination image. Okay, that went better. Now there could be clouds again, I don't know. No. So this one really improved quite a bit. And I raised my black point. Maybe that's what helped. And I lowered the white a bit. Okay, by adjusting your black and white even a little bit from 150 to 135, so I lowered it by 15 points and raised this black point, it helped with the contrast quite a bit. So again, you don't have to play with your contrast and gamma here. I would just suggest to leave it at default and just work with your histogram. No, I'm not. That's the corrected frame, Mac. And the camera is at, let me just see. What's the sensor at? Hang on a sec. 478 by 578. So we're at 478 by 578. Thanks, Mac. I'm pretty pleased with the stars, though. I think the focuser ring that I tuned up helped a lot, because to me they're looking pretty round all the way around. Maybe a little slight off here, but not too bad. This side's good. They're good here. They're excellent up here too. And they're acceptable right here. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now, when I put in my exterminator, I hope that I get decent results. Mind you, the stars are a little bit rounder with the USB digital output. So we'll see the difference. I'm going to take my best image of this. My dark only goes to 90 seconds, and we're doing 90 now, and I think 90 is enough. Okay, I'm going to take this off. Let's wait for the next refresh, and you're going to see the difference without the dark field. So I'm going to capture my best on the crescent, and then we'll try a few more objects and then go and switch cameras. Before the clouds come in again. They're unpredictable tonight. There's another plane going. Actually, not a bad night tonight. Okay, that's without the dark field. Can you guys see the difference? I could zoom this in. Let me zoom this in a little bit more so you can appreciate what the dark field shows. Okay, yes, it is extremely obvious. You can see a little bit of amp glow here and quite a bit here. But you notice how the stars got brighter again? It's because the dark field's off. Now the dark field, I don't know, I haven't noticed if it affects the stars just on the bare outer edge of the amp glow. I'm sure it does a bit. But look at the warm pixels in that. Wow. Very snowy salt and pepper. A lot of noise. Okay, so let's put it back on and let's see the difference. Definitely, because there's no cooler, dark field correction, especially as you go longer in exposure using exotic type filters, are a must. Dark fields are a must. And with color even more so, because you're dealing with color noise, and that you definitely need dark fields with the color camera. Black and white you can get away without dark fields if you keep your exposures, I'd say, under 30 seconds. But they're not really a big deal to do. I only took 3 90-second darks at the beginning of the night, capped the scope, took 390, and that's it. That's all I'm using now. Yes, SkyRaider mono. So we should be coming up the next one with the dark field kicked in. I pretty well think all this little bit of amp glow is taken care of, and there's a little trace of it left over when it kicks in. Yeah, that would be nice. Not a lot of HA in the veil though, Jack. That's very dominant in 03. That would be nice for the 03 filter. But thanks, not a lot of HA. One good object is the ring and dumbbell, which are very good combination of hydrogen alpha and oxygen 3. Those are good ones. Yeah, the 03 would be excellent on the veil. It's the HA that wouldn't be very good for the veil. Okay, so we're waiting for one more refresh, and I'm going to try and see if I can tweak it a little bit more and then capture it. I haven't used the 03 filter because I really don't find it I don't find enough objects to appreciate it. If I had a filter wheel and I could just rotate the wheel, then I would probably use it. But because I have to take the camera out manually and put it on, there's not enough objects for me to use the 03 filter, unless as I said, I want to capture some images and do a non-traditional RGB image. And the way I do that is I use 03 for green and blue, for the green and blue channel, and I use my HA for the red, and just combine it that way, and you get a similar image like a traditional RGB. I used to do that a lot in CC images when I didn't have my Sulfur 2 to do a traditional Hubble palette image. Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a little bit of 03 and M97, but again, not as much. But there is some. That would be a good object to try too. If you really want to get into narrowband imaging though, you're best to buy a Sulfur 2 filter. Or some people use an HB in combination with the 03 and HA. I like the S2 filter, Sulfur 2. Use as the red. Okay, this should be coming up. I'm going to show you the difference between using the two cameras for simplicity, etc. So we'll see how hard it is to get an image with this camera and then the Exterminator, I should say. I had my Extreme converted. It's going to be the 428 though. That's my favorite one for the black and white. As I said before, I prefer my 428 over the 828 because there's only 1 amp glow area to deal with, and no lines from the coding on the CCD. And it's pretty well almost the same, maybe touch less sensitive, but almost the same. Okay, there you go. So you can see it did help quite a bit with the dark field correction. I think that's as good as I can get that one. I don't want to lower the white point anymore. It's just going to get noisier. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at about there. How's that look to you guys? Ready for a snap? Okay, thanks guys. Yeah, I think it's good enough. I don't think I'll get that any better. Okay, so we're going to do a snap. And let's see, let me save as. I'm just going to put it to the desktop. Let me get this out of your way if I can. Let's see, SkyRaider-DSm. Did have the crescent there before. Save it as a TIFF, I guess. What was I using here before? We have HA. No, I did use an HA before. 270 seconds, gain at 5. So I was using a lot of gain. A little bit more gain, but look at the exposure time was 270. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. You see that? That's my old ones. That's what the SkyRaider, the prototype, black and white. And we can click on it. Open it with Photo Gallery. Let's just see what we have. That's it there. So yeah, similar. A little bit of amp glow here still, and here. Very similar to what we have tonight. So, and that's 270 seconds compared to 90. So I think we're doing pretty good tonight. Okay, let me just change this to 90. 90. HA filter, gain at 4. And I'll just get rid of this. Gain at 4 dot TIFF. 2 Fs. Okay, let me just make sure I got it. I don't want to, where is it? SkyRaider. Color. Okay. There it is there. Okay, so we have it. That's good. And skies look fine. Alright. You guys I think what I'll do is I'll change cameras, because I really wouldn't mind trying the other camera, just so we get a good idea of comparison near the